So let's get into today's session. And today we're going to be talking about what's changed in Microsoft 365 recently and how it can help you be better at what you're doing and perhaps show off to your colleagues on some of the tips and tricks that you can use in 365. Now, today I'm joined by Jolie from Microsoft, who's going to take us through a number of these things. And of course, we're going to start off with Microsoft Teams, which is always a good place to start because it's the tool we're using right now and we use most of the time during the day. So Jolie, if you want to share your screen and we can get straight into a new function, which is aimed at helping well-being and work-life balance, where you can actually delay the sending of a message.
Sending scheduled messages in Teams. So this will allow you to manually select a future date and time for your chat messages to be delivered to an individual. So as you can see on my screen, I am in my Teams demo tenant. I'm in as Megan today. So if you see Megan's name flying around, that is me. And if I go to my left-hand navigation rail and go into my chat section, here I can start to send my messages, of course. So if I go into my chat with Nesta Wilk, and I can go to my chat box and type in my message. So it might be, hey Nesta, are you free for a call today at 1 PM? So just like I normally would, but instead of clicking my send button here or selecting enter, I can actually now right click on my send button, and this gives me this little box here where I can change the date. So I could change this to tomorrow, and I can also change the time as well. So the time that I want this message to send. So I could select 9:30, for example. So this is something that I use and I find it really useful. And a good user case for this might be if you're kind of wrapping up for your day. It might be kind of 5:30 and you're ready to kind of sign out, but there's a couple of things that you want to do to prepare you for the day ahead of you tomorrow. So this is what I would do. So if I know that Nesta's in the office tomorrow, then I could schedule a message to send to him in the morning, so I'm not disturbing my colleagues in the evening when I know that they've signed out. Another good use case could be for when people are kind of out of office, if they're on leave, or if I know that they're coming on duty next week, say. So I can schedule that message to send at scheduled time. So I can click that. And then you can see that it says select send to deliver on Thursday, the 22nd of June at 9:30 AM. And then I can hit send. So now you can see that I've got my message. It's sent in the chat. However, you can see that it's telling me that it's not sent yet. And it's highlighted and it's sending on Thursday, the 22nd of June at 9:30 AM. So yeah, just a really good way to be able to kind of prepare yourself for the days ahead, or when I know people are coming back from being out of office, or if they're on leave, or if I know that they're in an event, I can then schedule the send of that message.
And I've noticed that sometimes it actually comes up to tell you when somebody's maybe next on duty because they've logged off for the day or something in their schedule. It actually suggests that you can send a message at a delayed time, because what we do know is that people are more likely to read a message if it comes in when they're actually online.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's also an option. You're right, Dave. So it will bring up the kind of those selected times where they know that that person will be online. So I can schedule it around their working time as well.
Sticking with Teams for a minute, hopefully colleagues know all about how you @mention a team name when you want to make sure everybody gets an alert or a notification. But that capability is now changed to those informal chat groups or meeting chats as well. Could you introduce everyone to everyone?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm sure everybody's familiar with that. You can @mention people within chat, but now you can actually @mention everyone. So if you go into a group chat, and you can see I've got a drafted group chat here just to make it really easy. And I can go into this, so you can see I've got Alex, Diego, Grady, and a couple of other members in this group chat. So instead of before, when we would have to kind of, if I wanted to @mention everybody within this chat and send them a highlighted notification that they've been @mentioned, I would then have to @mention every single name within this chat, and then you run the risk of maybe missing somebody out, and obviously it takes a long time as well. So instead now you can actually @mention, if I type in my @ So I have suggestions here that it brings up. So obviously some of the names of the people within the chat, but you also have this option now to everyone within the chat. So you can either select that, or I could simply type everyone. And then what that'll do is when I send out that message into the chat, everybody within that group chat will receive a notification to say that they've been @mentioned. So again, just saves a lot of time having to kind of @mention out people. If it's relevant to everybody within that chat, I can @mention them, and then they'll receive that notification in their activity thread. So hey everyone, are you able to go to meeting tomorrow? And then simply hit send, and then all of those people within that chat will receive that mention notification.
And Mike, you're joining us today remotely from Liverpool as a learning event. There's a risk of overusing this, isn't there? But how do you think this can help people to get more out of the content?
Hi Dave, thanks. And yes, you're absolutely right. It shouldn't really be used for every single person or every single chat. Where I found it really useful is that I'm a member of a number of chats where there's 10, 15 people. And because of the role of L&D, it's slightly different from some of the other topics. It's great to actually introduce a new conversation or a new notification. I think if you're in the middle of a thread already, then you've got the engagement with the folk and the people are looking for it. So I think if you're starting a new conversation or a new chat on a new topic, it's a great way to wake up to everyone to say there's something in there. And as I said, you know, some of the channels that I'm part of, you've got 20, 30 people in there. To type in 20, 30 names, you lose the will to live. So I think this @everyone function is a really good time saver, and it just gets you straight into the conversation.
And it's a really good way of reinvigorating existing groups when they need it. You know, we all get lots of notifications every day, but quite often there'll be a group chat that's been set up some time ago about a subject. As you say, something new comes in, that'll then make sure it comes back up to the top of your list of chats. You get a little notification so you don't miss out on conversations that need to be had. And speaking of not missing out on something, our diaries are always crammed and we can't always make every meeting, or we can't always remember all the details from meetings. So I think it's time to talk about recap now, and that's a fantastic new piece of functionality, and it's a little hint of what's coming down the line when we were all getting very excited about AI and Copilot in terms of functionality. Jolie, perhaps you could explain what recap is.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next few things I'm going to show you, I've got a slide deck for, so hopefully it's not death by PowerPoint, but I just wanted to make sure that we're showing the functionality the best that we can. And I've also got some links as well, which we can share after. So some of these visuals might be a little bit clearer for you too, and it will explain it in more detail as well. So as David mentioned, the first thing is the Microsoft Teams meeting recap tab. So this enables you to see a past meeting details in one place and kind of quickly revisit some of those meeting highlights, view your meeting recordings, transcripts and more without switching screens or apps. So in order to access this, you just open the meeting in your Teams calendar, and then you can select the recap tab from there. So the recap is available after your scheduled meetings that you have recorded and transcribed. And in this, as you can see from the slide here, you can review the meeting recording, the meeting transcript, any shared content. So you can see in the top right hand corner here, during this meeting, a PowerPoint document, a Word document, and also a video file were all shared. And the recap tab has nicely kind of collated that for me there, so I can really easily access this shared content. Meeting notes, meeting agenda, and any follow-up tasks as well. So again, to view the meeting recap, you can select the recap tab in the meeting chat, or in the Teams calendar after the meeting ends. And you can also open the meeting chat and select the recording or transcript from there as well. You also have the option to view the recap in different meetings within a series. So to do this, you can open a series in the invite in your Teams calendar, and then you have the option to select the date and time of the meeting that you want to review from the drop-down menu as well. And it is worth noting at the moment that the meeting recap isn't currently supported in channel meetings, instant messages or Teams calls. So it must be a scheduled meeting that's recorded and transcribed in your tenant. So again, this is just a really nice way to be able to kind of quickly access all of the important content from our Teams meetings. We don't have to spend loads of time trying to find the documents which have been shared with us, or those meeting notes from a meeting. Instead, this kind of collates all of that information for us in one central place.
And I think I have noticed that it's also available in Outlook as well. If you go through your Outlook calendar, you can see the recap button there. Just perhaps a little bit of reassurance in terms of, if people have been to the meeting, they would have rights normally to access the document that's been there. Hence, because you're sharing that document into the meeting. Is that how it works, or does it depend on the SharePoint rights of where the document's saved?
Yeah, absolutely. So it will still depend on the rights, and also it will need to be within your tenant as well. So these will be meetings that are recorded within your tenants, and any of those files that are shared will still follow those policies. But if you share within the meeting, then obviously you can access that via that recap tab as well.
So there's an absolute win here in terms of not having to watch a whole replay of a meeting that you've missed. You should be able to get to those salient points, get to the slide decks that are shared, and be able to update yourself quite quickly as a result of recap. And of course, those requirements, as you said, you have to record the meetings, has to be scheduled, and it has to be within the tenant at the moment. Those are the golden rules for being able to access it, aren't they?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so now you mentioned PowerPoint in there, and there's been a bit of a shift as people start to use PowerPoint online and present through PowerPoint. What's been happening in that space in terms of helping people with meetings?
Yep, so now you have closed captions for videos in PowerPoint Live. So you can actually turn on closed captions for any video in a PowerPoint Live presentation that includes a closed caption file, and then you can choose which language you want to see captions in. So this is a new feature within Microsoft Teams Meeting that aims to help those who are deaf or hard of hearing, have difficulty processing auditory information, have a language barrier, or who are simply joining the meeting from a loud environment. They might be in the office. To kind of better understand the auditory content being shared. So meeting attendees will now have the option to turn on closed captions for any video that includes a closed captions file. So quickly how you can do this. So if you're looking to create closed captions PowerPoint Live in a video, one way to do this is do it directly from within PowerPoint. So to add those closed captions, select your video. So you can see that I have clicked in the video here. And you can then select insert captions from the playbook ribbon at the top there. Select the files that should be included, and then you can insert that. So once you've done that, when the PowerPoint presentation is shared using PowerPoint Live in a Microsoft Teams meeting, the closed captions option will then be available for you to turn on. So as you can see here in PowerPoint Live, you click on the closed captions button on the video player, which is highlighted in the red box. You can then select the preferred language from the drop-down menu, and then closed captions will then be turned on for your users, for your attendees. And then once this has been turned on, the video closed captions will appear at the bottom of the slide. So again, as you can see on this slide here, and this gives the attendees as well the option to choose the closed caption setting, which is best for them. So without distracting other attendees who might prefer not to have the closed captions on, this is up to the individual attendee and their choice as to which they prefer. Again, it's worth noting when no closed captions are available for a video, the closed captions button will obviously be unavailable for participants to select this. So it means that in order for this to work, the presenter must have added the closed captions to the slide deck as previously shown, and then switched them on within PowerPoint Live as well.
So Mike, you and I and the rest of the team spend a lot of time looking at accessibility in particular, but this can help with the learning experience as well, can't it?
Oh, absolutely. I think, that this is a huge step forward for the learner, particularly those who have a very different type of learning style. If you do have those people who would love to, yes, listen and to observe, but also to read and to bring that sort of that element to their brain and to their understanding. So this is huge. I think more and more classes and training is moved to this type of environment on 365 and virtual learning. And also bearing in mind the different locations that police officers are taking those sessions, whether it be at home or in the middle of a very, very busy station. It's a great way for them to be, I suppose, really in the moment and focused on what's being said. And Dave, as you very rightly said, the work that we're trying to do with forces around accessibility and inclusivity, this does make sure, or it goes that step further in ensuring that everybody has an equal opportunity to make the most of a meeting or a learning session or a training session. So this one is something that I'll really be pushing with my L&D colleagues around policing.
And certainly I often turn on captions in any standard meeting that we're in. I find it a really valuable way of being able to follow the thread sometimes, particularly if you've got some speakers who are in a shared room, perhaps doing a hybrid meeting, and you can't quite always hear. Sometimes the captions are absolutely accurate and doing that. So there's a real value for anybody using captions and feeling free to switch them on and get a little bit more enhanced capability out of any meeting environment. The power is there. Jolie, just on PowerPoint Live as well, this is something that's been slowly migrating across. I've become much more of a user of PowerPoint Live when I'm presenting in a meeting than I used to be, as I've found the functionality. And on the screen at the moment, you perhaps can point out the laser pointer and the highlighter and how they can use.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the minute, what you can see on the screen is what I would see as the presenter view, obviously. So this is my notes for my slides. And at the bottom, you can see that I have some different options to really kind of pull out some of that information when you're presenting to make it really engaging for your users or attendees. So you have a cursor, so you can turn on your cursor so that you can actually point out where you are on the slide. And you also have some other options here. So, for example, highlighter and also pen as well, just to, again, just really increase that engagement and make that meeting experience a little bit more bearable for your attendees.
And you know, we can't often go on a team meeting. We're worried that we're sharing the wrong screen and people end up sharing their presenter view or the normal slide sorter. If you actually just are in a Teams meeting and click present to Teams from PowerPoint, it takes care of that. You know you're going to be presenting the presenter's view, the presented view for the users, so that can help people to feel a little bit more confident. You get all your notes privately. You don't see what the presenter's seen. It's all in that little red box is what what your audience is seeing. So a really helpful tip for people who are a little less perhaps not confident in how to share the right screen. Present from PowerPoint. It can be a really powerful tool. So we've now chatted, notified, recapped, recorded, and it's time to share. And a few weeks ago, Mike and I gave an overview of what's changed in terms of Stream and has it become more of a tool rather than a platform, and how SharePoint now treats video alongside any other type of file. But lists are now available to help us manage our video recordings. Could you perhaps explain how that all works and how we can use that to perhaps enhance that approach?
Yeah, absolutely. So now you can use playlists to create collections of videos or audio files in Microsoft 365. So this is utilising the new Stream on SharePoint and Microsoft Lists. And up until now, previously you had to build a SharePoint page with WebPart and load in the content to create a video collection. But now within Playlists in M365, you can actually add content using the new playlist template in Microsoft Lists. So you can see on the screen an idea of what that could look like. And then once you have the right collection of audio or video files, it's instantly then ready to play back and share with your users. So playlists can be created directly from within Stream or via list creations across Office, SharePoint and Lists. And users can now add any video and audio file to a playlist that they have edit access to. So people with access to the playlist and to the files in the playlist can view the videos in order or skip back and forth between items in the playlist. So for example, playlists can be used to create an organised collection of training videos, Teams meeting recordings, or other audio video content. And once you've set up your playlist, you simply tap any video in the list to begin watching. So just to quickly show what this looks like. So to create a playlist from the Stream start page, so you can see on the slide here, I'm within my Stream application. You will then see the option at the top to create new playlist. And if I click into this will then enable me to start creating my playlist. So as you can see on the slide, I have that highlighted in the red box at the top there. So really easy to access. Also, you can create a playlist directly within Microsoft Lists. So you can see here, I'm in my Microsoft Lists application. And if I select new list at the top, it then brings up this box and it gives me the option for some templates. That I can then select the playlist from the templates displayed to then start creating my playlist. So again, in the bottom left hand corner there, you can see I've highlighted the playlist and you click into that and that's when you can start to create that playlist. And then once you've created a playlist, it would then look something like this and you can then share it with others using the share button in the playlist view. So you can see that at the top there. Again, I've highlighted it for you. So using permissions, you can make your playlist accessible to all of or limited set of people in your course. And it's important that your intended audience have access to the playlist and to its audio or video files for proper playback. It is worth noting here that sharing a playlist doesn't override permissions for videos that are part of the playlist. So users who have access to the playlist but don't have access to the videos, we need to request permission to watch those videos. So it doesn't break any of those permissions that you've currently set up. And if you want to make all videos accessible to everybody by default, then you can change those video permissions accordingly. And then after you create a playlist, or when a playlist is shared with you, it will appear on the stream start page under quick access, again making it really easy front and center for you to be able to go and find that. And you can also add a playlist as your favorite as well, and it will appear under your favorites filter. And then in the coming months, we expect to add playlist support to web parts to enable the display of playlists in SharePoint pages and newses. So if you have any SharePoint sites set up. And we also plan to enable notification functionality to alert you when any new video is added to playlists that you are subscribed to. So again, when you get when a playlist is shared to you, or you get added into one, or you create one, you can then send notifications out to users to say that that's there.
And if I can come to Mike on this, again, this is something that we used to use in the old stream, in classic stream as it's called, in terms of creating playlists. It's great that we've got a solution back to this again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think as again, as more than the departments build their own content and they find that the use of 365 can perhaps give them that flexibility which they wouldn't have had in the past, it again makes it easier to use, easier to curate, which I think is a really important part to make sure that they're on top of it, but also helps the learner, if directed in the right way, to access that information quickly and effectively. And I think that's been the key to all of these latest releases. And I know we've still got a couple more to come. It's how things are becoming more effective and efficient. It's down to us to then understand how we can apply it into our day-to-day activity. But really good functionality.
It is, and embedding it into SharePoint when that comes along, that'll be fantastic as well to help manage that. And again, if you go back to our webinar we did a couple of weeks ago, we did talk about how to save perhaps your videos into a folder so that every video goes into that folder, it inherits the permissions of that folder. There's a nice way of managing that, link it into the list and away you go. So there's lots of tooling coming in on this. We've got so much more to cover, and we're going to come to Whiteboard now, and this is one of my lists and whiteboards are kind of my favorite tools that aren't commonly used by lots of people. A whiteboard, so there's been some changes in terms of templates and what we can do in terms of doing them. Jolie, you can take us through that.
Yeah, so a nice little quick win here. So now you can save and share user templates within Whiteboard. So really simply, I've put this in the slide for you. So you can see I'm within my Whiteboard project planning. On the left-hand side, I have my panel open to create. And then I have highlighted the templates section there. So if I click into that, that then brings up all of those great templates that you have access to within Whiteboard. And you also have my templates at the top there. And if you click into that, that then gives you the option to create a new template. So say, for example, you have a whiteboard which you kind of set might be a grid or a table on there with some headings, and it's something that you would probably use quite frequently or would be useful to share with your colleagues. You can then save that as a template. So once you've created it, click create a new template. That'll then save within your templates, and you can then share that out with other users. And you can see in the second screenshot there, below my templates you have shared with me, and you can access all of those templates within there too.
And templates can be really powerful, but I've always ended up amending the template that I've clicked on to make it suit my purposes, usually the same time every time I've done it. So I'll be able to create my own templates, share them across the team. And Whiteboard, the virtual whiteboard, becoming a really powerful tool in terms of how we can almost have a folder of whiteboards and being able to go back to them, not having to rub them off, share them, collaborate remotely. We actually use a whiteboard for planning our webinars. So we put the little card up, what webinars are going to happen on what date. We've got a backlog of webinars of things and functions we're going to move. We move them around just like we would if we were all in an office with a board on the wall and a calendar and moving things around. Now, we are running short of time, and we'll go very quickly because a lot of colleagues will be seeing something called New Outlook and getting preview of New Outlook. Perhaps you could give us a quick introduction into that for me, Jolie.
Yeah, absolutely. So the New Outlook then. So this brings the latest features. It has intelligent assistive capabilities and also brings a new, modern and simplified design to your Outlook app. And you can also tailor this to your style and do more within the new Outlook as well. So it's currently in preview. So you can try the new Outlook, and to do this, you will see a toggle in the upper right-hand corner of your current Outlook. So you can see that highlighted on the slide here to try the new Outlook. So if you select this toggle, that will then download the new app and let you switch to the preview. And once you've toggled this on, the new Outlook for Windows will launch into the account that you've set as your default send account in Outlook. And this will also give you the option to import settings on the dialog box that will appear to bring your settings from your classic Outlook for Windows, or you can choose to skip this as well. So you have the option there to bring over the settings that you had originally set in place for your old Outlook into the new Outlook, or you can start fresh there as well. So you have that option. So if you switch from your classic Outlook, you'll then have the option to migrate some of those settings, as previously mentioned. However, it's still good to familiarise yourself with the latest options as well, because there's lots of great stuff in there. So firstly, you can start to explore the personalisation options and settings within the new Outlook, and you can find your settings in the gear icon in the top right-hand corner. And you also have the option to make quick updates to certain settings by clicking on the View tab and View Settings. So I definitely recommend checking this out to see kind of all of those visual updates and personalization options so you can create your preferred email experience. So just a couple of things then. So on the left-hand side here, you'll see the navigation bar, which makes it really simple to switch between your calendar, your contacts, or any other app that you frequently use. So you can see highlighted in the red box, you can access Word, Excel, PowerPoint right within Outlook, and there's also lots of different options, so you can change this to your preference. So you can see the ellipses at the bottom there, where you can kind of change this depending on what you want to have displayed there. In the top right hand corner, you also have something called My Day. This gives you quick access to your calendar or tasks without leaving the inbox. So you can use My Day by selecting the icon in the upper right hand corner, which will then give you the option to view upcoming calendar events and also your tasks. So you can see the To-Do tab there as well. So a few things that I picked out. So tell me how much time I've got. I'll keep going and then feel free to interrupt. So first thing, you can now pin emails. So this is really helpful to ensure that you don't forget to follow up on kind of your most important messages. So similar to how you can pin your chats within Teams, you know, we're all super busy every day, and sometimes it can kind of become difficult tracking down those key email threads or an email with key information, which you always frequently refer back to. So now you can actually right click on any message and choose to pin that email, and that will then appear at the top of your inbox. Again, saving you time from having to go back and search for it, so making life that little bit easier. You also have the option to use the new snooze functionality. So with this feature, you can schedule a time for the email to be redelivered to your inbox. So this will appear at the time you want it to, and you have that option to manage your emails at the right time for you as well. So to do this, you can right click any message and choose snooze, or select snooze from the ribbon as well. And then you can choose the time you want it to be delivered, as you can see on the slide here. So again, this is super useful if we're kind of away from our desk. An email notification might pop up on our mobile device, or you might be out of office at an event or in a meeting. So we can choose to snooze that email, so it's then re-delivered to you in your inbox at a time that suits you as well.
That's really useful for well-being and helping you to focus, because believe it or not, we can't all multitask.
Absolutely, and that's exactly kind of the idea behind this one as well. So this is really similar to what you can do within Teams when you can schedule to send a message. You can also do this now with email as well. So I can choose when I want to send my message. So it might be at the end of a working day, and I want to get ready kind of ahead of my next working day. And instead of sending emails or messages late in the evening, I can then schedule to send these the next day, for example, or when I know somebody's on duty or I know somebody's coming back from leave, I can then schedule that as well.
That's great.
And then the last one, have we got time?
Go for it.
Yeah, so the last one is categories. So you may be familiar with categories, as this feature was in the old Outlook. However, they've upgraded it quite significantly, so you can now see the category names and colours directly on your messages in your inbox to make it super clear and easy to see which email relates to which category. So you can also add a category to your favourites too. So you can see that in the image here on the slide. So again, bringing everything which is important to you right front and centre and making it really easily accessible for you.
That's
really
brilliant.
quickly through.
really quick whiz through, and there's loads more. We will pop some links out to colleagues around that. I'm just going to share my favourite new feature on screen as well, which is being able to manage your diary invites in the preview in the inbox, where you can RSVP and it shows you the conflicts. So I really like that as a particularly new bit of functionality, or an improved bit of functionality. It means you're doing a lot less clicks to manage your inbox calendar. Just conscious of time, and we've kept the audience really live, so thanks for that. It was a really good run through. There's so much more we could have featured today, and there's so much more we will feature in the future. Coming up in the next couple of weeks, we've got next week we're doing a webinar on polls data standards, so that's a really important part in terms of enhancing our interoperability. Back to phishing, and for those of you who are waiting for updates around the summit, details of registration will be coming soon, and we'll be reaching out to you, so please keep an eye on it, and remember to use the Force collaboration channel. We're on there. The amount of conversation and helping each other out that's going on there at the moment is phenomenal, and we want to really enhance and support that. So if you've got any questions about something you're tackling in your Force, please do use that. So thanks so much for joining us today.